Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text 70. Apuryamanana pratistam samudram bhava pravisandi hadvat tarva kamayam pravisandi sarve sasanti napnoti na kama kami. The person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, that enter like the rivers in the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So when there's material desires, if one run after the material desires, that doesn't really never make one content, which means that desires leads to the further desires, like a karma, the material obsession or attachment that leads to the krodha, anger, and also the lobha, the greediness, which means that when one tries to satisfy the desires, that leads to the further desires, which means that then one is all the time like a internally one is never still state. But here is it mentioned that if one is like a try to control the desires. Desires may come, they may go, they may enter into the mind, but one should try to keep the mind still, same way the river is entering in the ocean, but the ocean is still not really affected by the river. Same way when the desires enter into the mind, one should try to stay controlled, mentally controlled. And when the mind is still, that makes the mind content, instead of running after the desires, material desires. But one should try to develop spiritual desire. When the mind is still, after the mind, or when the mind is still, one should try to utilize that mind for the spiritual elevation by developing desires which are aligned with the spiritual goal. Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai.